state of Texas and Governor Greg Abbott is in a bit of a standoff with the Biden administration about what to do with illegal immigration. Greg Abbott thinks that he has a solution. He wants to enforce border policies, and Biden has other plans, I think, because he assumes that many of the people fighting across the border will end up one day as Democrat voters in the state of Texas, thus flipping the state of Texas to the Democrat Party. It's all about changing demographics. But what about the people who have to live with the consequences of Biden's manipulation of a humanitarian crisis to help the Democrats? Well, that's part of what Alexa and Lincoln were doing down there, talking to the very people affected by Biden's, I was going to say inability, but I don't think it's an inability to enforce border policies. He just doesn't want to because it helps his agenda. Alexa, you're just home now. We have a ton of videos still that you filmed at the border to publish. Tell us what you learned at the southern border at Eagle Pass.
I was really surprised because the main reason why we went down there, it's because of the pushback of Greg Abbott against what he say that is Biden lawless policy regarding the immigration. So Greg Abbott have decided to reinforce the border, putting some razor wire, putting some shipping container, and making really a wall where it's Shelby Park. Shelby Park is a park in Eagle Pass. So since then, since it's reinforcing in these arresting people for crossing illegally, making as a crime, because it started in 2021 at the Operation Lone Star. So the word has spread in the other side, in Mexico, where people like now know that in Texas, it's beginning a little bit more difficult to cross over. So we saw a decrease in the illegal crossing, but we need to know that in January, usually it's a month that it's always low for the crossing. So we need to wait a little bit longer in the next few months to see like if it is effective what Governor Greg Abbott is actually doing in Texas. But for now, what we were able to see is like, yes, there is less people crossing around Shelby Park, but not far away. We talk about 20 minutes drive. Me and Lincoln, we were able to access straight to the river without passing through razor wire or fence. So the border is really huge. There is a lot of loophole where you can just like cross over, and it would be always difficult for the government, the states to take care and to seal the border completely. There is also like border patrol that are patrolling, and there is helicopter all the time patrolling the area. There is also sensor tower with camera who always like look what is going on. At night, we see more border patrol because, of course, like the camera is probably less effective. But we saw tons, we saw on our eyes 8 people crossing. We were kind of lucky because, as I say, border is huge. They cross everywhere. But we saw on social media and from other independent journalists who were on the ground that we met, we saw 14 one day, another 20. They are by bunch of people. Sometimes it's all men, all single men crossing. We noticed like when we saw the 8 people crossing, a young boy of 10 years old, unaccompanied, by himself, crossing into the U.S. No family here in the U.S., no relative. He said that he was there for going to school, that he had no parents. And the Border Patrol said that it's actually something common to see a lot of unaccompanied child just crossing over. Who are those kids? Who pushed them to come into U.S.? And talking with a lot of people from U.S., they are really concerned and scared about the sleepers. People come into U.S., are there, keep silence for a while, and have an agenda behind. They don't know who are these people. It's not all people that are nice. But it's a thing. Texas is a Republican state. They are doing what they can to protect their border. But when we look at Arizona and California, there are two Democrat places where illegal migrants are just flooding in. And we know that there, they have a huge problem with drug addicts, homeless people. They have 10 cities where people are just like sleeping in tent or outside. And those people who are crossing, they don't want to stay close to the border. They want to go up north. And talking with a former Border Patrol agent, what they were saying is like, those people are getting processed here. But after that, they are either being bused up or fly up. So those people are going to sanctuary cities, and those cities is not safe anymore. Those cities, it's being crowded by illegal migrant or by like people who cannot find like any place to stay because the inflation is getting rockets. And so those people will want to go to Canada where it's like really spacey, where it's better because our health system is better from the US because it's free. Everything is free in Canada. We're all helping those illegals to cross over and to get all the help that they need. So now those people who are crossing illegally, and this shocked me so much because, as I was mentioned before, they don't need to have any ID. They don't need to prove from which country they are coming from. They don't need to prove who they are. If you say, oh, my name is this and I'm coming from Honduras, and you have no proof, they need to trust your word. So you receive afterwards a travel sheet that have your detail on it. And afterwards you can fly. You just show your paper, you fly around, and afterwards you receive a court date. It can be between 1 to 6 years, and you disappear into US. And most of them, they will disappear where? In Canada.